I'm going to talk to you about the preamble to the United States Constitution, the text of which you can see on the slide behind me. And the preamble does two main things. First of all, and most famously probably, it contains a list of 6 goals for the new federal government. You can see that in the language about forming a more perfect union, ensuring domestic tranquility, providing for the common defense, that sort of stuff. I'm not here to talk to you about that. Instead, I want to focus on the other thing that the preamble does. And it's this language here. We, the people of the United States, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And that language makes what was then in the 1787 a very bold claim about the nature of the federal government. It says that the federal government derives its power directly from the consent of the governed. And this was a dramatic change from what came before. Prior to independence, power derived from the king and was delegated by the king to colonies and colonial governments through royal charters. After independence, the colonies became free states, and they were republics, but the national government they created through the Articles of Confederation was very much not an independent government. It was created by the states, and its power was delegated to it from the states, with the result that it was always subordinate to the states. And so when the language of the Constitution was written, when this was drafted, most Americans would have understood that this was a fundamental claim about the nature of the federal government. It would not, like the Articles of Confederation, be subordinate to the states. It would not draw its power from the states. Instead, it draws its power directly from the consent of the governed. This makes it both independent from the states, but also arguably, as it turns out in practice, superior to the states. And then there's a hierarchy with the federal government then at the top of that hierarchical process. And this language, the specific language of we the people of the United States, would have been familiar to Americans in the 18th century. Americans were familiar with social contract theory, and you see language similar to this appearing in a number of 18th century documents. For example, the Declaration of Independence talks about how the power of the government depends on the consent of the governed. You see many early state constitutions making explicit arguments about how governmental authority derives from the people, including, I think, most notably, the Massachusetts Constitution of 1780. And it uses the specific language of we the people. It says, "We, the people of Massachusetts, do agree upon, ordain, and establish the following Constitution for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts." So that language, we the people, in this context, it's we the people of the United States, not we the people of Massachusetts. But the language of we the people would have been understood in 1787 as a claim that the national government created by the Constitution was not a product of the states, but indeed an independent organization that derived its authority directly from the consent of the governed. And there's a lot more I could say, but that's all I've got time for. Thank you very much.